Okay, welcome to most of you here. This Kansas State week's always been a very fun, challenging week for me. Just knowing as much as I know about Coach Snyder, it's always been very challenging, but I've always been admired his work and how he's ran his programs going back to when I grew up watching the University of Iowa. He was at the University of Iowa and then transferred over to Kansas State and just watched him build that thing from the ground up. Being at Texas Tech for the 8 years that I was at Texas Tech, it was back when they were rolling and winning a whole bunch of games. So it was neat to watch that, and then growing, maturing through the point of being a head coach. A lot of the things that he does now currently, I kind of understand why now. So it's always fun to compete against them and really study how they do things. And this year is no different. It still looks, when you put on the video, it looks like a very competitive football team, without a doubt, competitive football team. If you look at it, they're sitting at 3-0, got Oklahoma State beat at Oklahoma State. Didn't quite finish that game, had TCU beat. It was up 10 late in the game and didn't quite get that finished, but was right there being able to do so. Gave Texas everything they wanted, gave Baylor everything that they wanted, Texas Tech as well, and then has figured out ways to beat Iowa State and Kansas here the last couple of weeks. So you put on the video, it's the same stuff as you've seen out of them for a long time. Very well coached, very disciplined football team. Guys play hard, guys care, family atmosphere. They'll be playing as well as they have all year this Saturday. Just being senior day, last regular season game, and all that. Offensively, I've studied them all year based on us, kind of doing some different things with our offense, quarterback, run game stuff, run game in general. We've watched them a good bit this year on our side. And then this week, obviously, going through and watching a lot of the defense and the special teams. It looks a lot like it has over the last couple of years. So same stuff, very well coached, very disciplined. Guys play hard, try hard, do what you got to do to be able to be successful. It starts with their quarterback. They've had lots of issues with the injuries, which is just a part of the game. You got to deal with it. Nobody knows that more than they do. But Huebner's a good player, big kid that keeps getting better and better. Is very tough. Knows how to score. Guy scored 20. Is responsible for 22 touchdowns. So he's kind of what makes them go. Big physical offensive line, very similar, same guys other than their center that we faced last year. So we're pretty familiar with them, and got some backs that continue to get better. So they're a run-first team. They're going to control the clock. They have started throwing the ball just a little bit more, even probably more than we are at this point, based on what the score of some of those games have been. Defensively, it's the same look, guys in the same spots, never out of position, same coverages, same scheme, tough, big, physical defensive linemen that do a great job of holding their gaps and playing hard and getting off blocks as good as anybody. It doesn't look any different than what it's looked like over the course of the last few years. They'll put pressure on you when they need to. They'll add people into the box when they need to stop the run, play some man coverage and play off, which is no different than what they've done. Special teams, Sean Snyder is as good as anybody out there. They're always, top one, top two in the conference in each one of their units. This year is no different. Got their same specialist back that they've had, very solid. The return game is something that has always been good with them. If you want to know a difference between us and them, it's probably a little bit more consistency in the return game. They got two guys that average a bunch kickoff returns, and the punt return thing it has been really good through them, good for them over the years, with their coverage units being as good as what we've seen all year. So should be an interesting game. Again, one that I'm looking forward to. If I had to circle one that I wanted to try to get at the beginning of the year, this would probably be it. We'll use the motivation of finishing strong, last regular season game. Out of the respect that I got for Coach Snyder and his program and how he's doing things, this is one that we haven't got here in the last few years, and it's important for us to be able to do so. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Dana, did you kind of hint that as you've been looking to implement more quarterback runs this season specifically, that you looked at Kansas State, maybe not to borrow ideas, but maybe just to see some different things?
Yeah, we did. And like I mentioned a minute ago, throughout when we're trying to study our opponent, who have they played? And we've had crossover with these guys a lot. So there's, we're in the past, and we will reevaluate things here next week and in 2 weeks, getting ready for the bowl game, and then obviously moving forward, trying to figure out what we got to do to be successful and make some people happy. Then I'll reevaluate it and kind of see where we're at with it. With that said, I used to study Texas Tech quite a bit, and now I'm studying Kansas State. So to answer your question, yes, we've done that a good bit.
Dana, you've made a point of evolving as a play caller and have gotten a lot of credit, a lot of praise for it. How much have you seen evolution-wise out of Coach Snyder over the years?
Well, quite a bit of creativity on offense. Not much on defense, not much on special teams, because that's more just about doing the things that you believe in and knowing the game of football to be able to attack what you're trying to defend, what you're trying to defend. But offensively, it's a little different. You can be more creative offensively and evolve a little bit. I remember back when they used to use the stand-up tight end a lot. He did that at Iowa. He did it at Kansas State a good bit. More of a pro-style I formation, true tight end. I mean, seriously, the tight end looked like I'm standing right here, right now. This guy would be in this stance, where everybody else would be in a three-point stance or a receiver stance. And they're not quite doing that very much anymore. So they're a lot more spread, a lot more multiple, a lot more in the pass game. They do a lot on offense, not just more pro-style stuff. So he's evolved offensively a lot, where defense and special teams, they've kind of just stuck to their guns on that.
They've had really good running quarterbacks that you've seen. How does Huber compare to that?
Well, he's not as fast. He's not as fast or as dynamic. They've had guys that can make people miss all over the place. Going back to a long time ago, they've had, back when I got into the league, I'm trying to remember, Michael Bishop, I think, was one of them. That was just an outstanding quarterback. And they've had some here recently. I thought the guy they had last year, the junior college guy, was a really good football player. This guy's more of just a downhill guy. He's tough. He moves forward. He'll run over you. He'll take shots. He'll get back up. He'll just do it again and again and again. There's been times where he gets hit so dang hard, I don't think he's ever going to play football again. And he's right back in there. So just a big, tough guy. A little bit different than the guys that they've had, but obviously equally as effective.
How close is your team to where you thought they'd be entering the final week of the regular season?
Well, I thought we'd throw it more. Is that what you want me to say? I like where our team's at. It's not surprising that the team is where we're at. Contrary to some people's beliefs, we're a very tight team. Guys that like each other. Coaches got great continuity on the coaching staff. The players are in a good place. I really like our team, and I think we have a really good team. So that's not surprising to me at all. We anticipate finishing strong. Getting to 8 wins is important. Getting to one of the awesome things about being in a bowl game and being in the Big 12 is you got lots of good bowl games to choose from. Probably a little bit unlike what the previous conference was. So, we'll get to a good bowl game. Hopefully, play a really quality opponent like we did last year, and we can win that one. You're talking about getting to 9 wins in this situation. That's pretty dang good. I don't care what your expectations are or any of that. That's pretty good. So that's not surprising where we're at, and I think we'll continue to move forward with that. Offensively, I wished we would, I wish we would be able to execute the forward pass a little better, and we'll keep working hard on that.
When we're talking about the 8 wins there, Dana, that would be the most you guys have had since your first season here.
Isn't that a sign of improvement? Doing things that you haven't done the last couple of years? It's a sign of improvement.
The difference between 7 and 8 wins to some Mason kind of Mason a little bit arbitrary, but to you guys, who are always around this team, who've been around this program for the past few years, what would an 8-win mean?
Well, again, it'd mean improvement, which is the name of the game. You try to. These seniors are important to me. I'd do anything for each and every one of those 20 guys. They've been through a lot. And last week was awesome. I've never seen this as a coach, and I think this is a sign that shows that your team is in a good place and they care about where they're at and who they're coaching with, playing with, and playing for. Is those 20 seniors came off the man trip down onto the field and they had their whole teammates down there, and that was an exchange I've never seen before. That was, there was a lot of tears and a lot of hugs and a lot of, just gratitude for what those guys have done for each other and all that. That was good to see. But those guys set a goal. When we're sitting here at 3-4 and clearly not in the best place that we've been in, that we want to be remembered for something a little bit better than not being successful in the Big 12. So they set the goal of finishing better than any other Big 12 team West Virginia team has finished in the Big 12. So there's been some great teams at West Virginia, there's no question, some great teams. This would be the best Big 12 team that we've had, and that's what they want to get to. And we have a chance of doing that this week, and we have a chance of extending that throughout the bowl season.
Yesterday on a teleconference, you mentioned that you were able to practice some of your younger quarterbacks. Have you seen improvement with those guys as time's gone on this year?
Yeah, we got can't rep them all, obviously, but Chugs is getting a lot of reps. He got a lot of reps last week, because Skyler and Will both were injured in the Kansas game, and Will wasn't at 100% all week. Was good in the game, but wasn't ready to go. And Skyler's been, he's been kind of touch and go. He doesn't have as much zip on the ball, and there's a reason for that. But he's a competitor, and he's he's going to do everything that he possibly can to prepare the right way and all that. But with that said, we needed somebody to take some quarterback reps. So Chugs has been getting in there, getting some reps, and looks really, really, really good.
Would you address Stone Underwood's improvement, evolution during the year, and also what his future now looks like?
Well, he just went through senior day, so he's going to graduate and probably be a good something. I'm not quite sure what his degree is. I was so happy for him. He's a realist. He hadn't played at all in his career here at West Virginia. Has been a solid number 2 backup. We've got a great center that stays healthy, and he's tough, and means a lot to him. So if he's got a nick or a bruise or something, he doesn't look for the sidelines. He gets out there and he plays. So we haven't needed Stone to do a whole lot. But with the injury situation that we've had to address up front, Stone was like, well, let me move to guard and play some ball. And so we moved him, and he played some ball. And he did good. I was proud of him.
Dana, obviously the Kansas State game last year was the first time Skyler saw extended action. What do you remember about where he was at then, and compared to how far he's come?
Yeah, we studied that a good bit, and I remember, I vaguely remember it, but I remembered him going in and playing well. Clint wasn't in a great spot at that point in the season. And we didn't play very good. We had 3 points at halftime. And then Skyler went in there, and I specifically remember this. I looked at him, I said, "You ready to go?" And he said, "Yeah, man, let's go. Let's do this." And I said, "All right, get in there and run the offense." And he went in there and took us down and scored. And I thought he played good enough that day for us to beat Kansas State. We didn't play the whole game offensively, clearly. And then we gave up some stuff in the pass game by that Lockett kid who we could never stop in 3 years. So they beat us, but I thought Skyler did his part in that situation as a backup quarterback. He's continued to progress from then. He knows more about the offense, more about the running game. We're using him more in the running game. And I feel like he'll continue to improve as well.
Dana, different topic. You got a lot of construction going on around here. Your thoughts on what facilities mean for your program and what's sort of next on your wish list?
A lot of construction. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the stadium's getting a lot of construction renovations. Practice field's done. You're getting your new game field.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on in the stadium, to be honest with you. I honestly don't, and I'm not, being facetious in any way, but that doesn't affect my world. That's an administration world, and I know they've put a lot of time and resources into making that better. And I know the Coliseum's kind of going through some of the same stuff where you don't address anything for 3 decades. It's going to catch up to you, but I know these practice fields are getting done. They look really good. They're not quite done yet, and we can't get on them yet. But and then the next step is the flatten the crown. Well, that affects us because we actually play football on that right there, and so that's the next step. It's critical, I mean, most of you guys, not everybody, because a lot of you guys don't travel, or most of you guys travel. A few of you guys don't, but you should see some of the facilities of the teams that we're playing. Not only from a recruiting perspective, but from a player development perspective. Guys coming in the building and having what they need in order to develop as a student athlete. That's very important. And I've always said from day one, if you just give us somewhere where we can practice the right way and meet the right way and lift the right way and study the right way and eat the right way, then you got a chance to develop them the way what you want to. And we're getting closer to having that done. Next step, training room. Next step's training room. Whether that happens a year from now or 2 years from now, there's funds issues and everybody's got issues. But, why is that important? Well, because your players got to go down there and they got to have top-notch facilities in order to get treated and for their body to be physically the way it needs to be from a health perspective.